The sea and sky thus became a brutal killing field until the evacuation ended nearly a week later on June 4th, by which time a staggering 338,000 men had been rescued. The evacuation was seen as a victory for Britain, but those in the offices of power knew the truth. The defeat in France had not only cost the relatively small British army 68,000 men, but had cost them huge amounts of equipment such as artillery, tanks, and other assorted vehicles that would be vital in repelling a German invasion. Churchill warned against the optimistic mood after Dunkirk, noting that wars were not won by evacuations. In the wake of the success of the evacuation, a tragedy would occur that has largely been glossed over by history when the British ocean liner, the RMS Lancastria, attempted to escape the French port of Saint-Nazaire. The line was taking part in Operation Ariel, which aimed to evacuate British nationals from France, when at 10 minutes to 4 on June 17th, it was bombed by German aircraft. Exact numbers of how many men, women, and children were on board is unknown, because in the chaos of the evacuation, people were crammed into every available space. But it is estimated that between 3,000 to 6,000 people were killed, making it the worst maritime disaster in British history. To put this into perspective, the most conservative estimates put the death toll as being twice that of the Titanic. The disaster was quietly covered up for the fear of damaging national morale. On June 10, 1940, Mussolini waded in on the side of Nazi Germany, declaring war on Britain and France, although Italian forces would only play a token part in the fight for France. On June 25, 1940, after just 46 days of fighting, Hitler's troops achieved what the Kaiser had failed to do in 4 years by defeating and occupying France. To add insult to injury for the French, Hitler located the same railway carriage in which the Treaty of Versailles was signed in 1919 and used it to meet with the French to discuss their surrender. France surrendered, but it was not wholly occupied by Germany. Instead, the country was split in two, with Germany occupying the northern half of the country and the western coastline, with the remainder in the southeast being ruled by the Vichy French government, who were essentially German puppets and had to live under terms that had similarly been imposed on Germany after the First World War. One of his most controversial acts during the war, on July 3rd, he ordered the Royal Navy to demand that French warships surrender to them, and when they refused, the Royal Navy bombarded them with shellfire, killing 1,297 French sailors and sinking or damaging 8 ships. With France duly suppressed, Hitler was now concerned with what to do with Britain. It wasn't in his favor to destroy Britain, as he believed that would only hand her empire to the Americans, who were becoming increasingly hostile to him after Poland. Believing Britain was spent after the fall of France, he sued for peace, but Churchill refused, even though he knew Britain's chances of repelling a full German invasion in 1940 were slim at best. Hitler therefore ordered his generals to draw up plans for Operation Sea Lion, the invasion of Britain. At the same time, Germany, along with Mussolini's Italy, met with representatives of Japan to begin negotiations for an alliance that was meant to counter the United States.